Hi, welcome to Crypto Crazy. I'm Cal, and today, as you can see from my screen, I want to talk about the Bitcoin crash yesterday. And as you can see, the price went from highs of over 40,000 down to as low as around 31,000. Now, for those who are new to the market, and I had a lot of messages yesterday asking, we bought at the top, we shouldn't have done so. Is it going to go down lower? What's going to happen? What should I do? I think for those who have the experience will know that it's such a volatile market and the prices do fluctuate a lot that this is something to be expected. And we saw it, well, we see it all the time, but we saw it largely when there's a lot more money within the market, when the prices are pushing up a lot quicker. And it happened in 2017, where one day you could be flying high and the next day it could have crashed a considerable amount. And there may be people out there who, for example, let's say they bought at 35, 36,000, and it quickly jumped over to 41 and they must have been very happy. And then when it crashed, they could have easier been thinking, oh no, I need to sell. And a lot of people do sell at that time. And that's what I want to bring your attention to as well, because what we'll be able to see from this is the Bitcoin whales keep accumulating during Monday's crash. So the whales are those who have a considerable amount invested within cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin. And what happened is when the price was crashing, when it was going down, these whales were buying up Bitcoin at cheaper prices. And what we can see here, that the number of accounts that hold more than 1,000 Bitcoin, which is a considerable amount, went up. So I just want to show you this graph down here. So what it shows is, as you can see with the gray line, is the price of Bitcoin. And what you'll see is it downturned. It obviously it turned down a lot more than that. But the interesting one is the other line, where when it did turn down, how those accounts that do have more than 1,000 Bitcoin of balance really shot up all of a sudden. And that just goes to show that when there is more money within cryptocurrency, when the market volume is much greater, then these whales know that there's going to be a lot more movement. And where it has gone down in price, for them it's a buying opportunity. Now, it's a similar sort of concept that I mentioned yesterday in my ether video, and what I told those who were panicking and messaging me yesterday, that it is a buying opportunity. So it allows you to bring down your average. So if you have bought in at 40,000 and it's dropped to 30,000, and you had the same amount invested in at 30,000, then you've dropped your average buy-in down to 35. And in the long run, the lower your average, the better obviously profits that you were making. Now, no one can time the tops and the bottom, and I can tell you that from experience. I got into Bitcoin when it was around about $200, and I must admit it wasn't a great deal that I had invested, and it went up and down. It ended up around about 600, and I was very happy to have tripled my money. But I got out. It was just moving around way too much for me, and it was a bit panicky. And I was new. I was new to cryptocurrency, and when it hit around about 1,000 per Bitcoin USD at the beginning of 2017, I was certain that it would drop at some point and I would be able to buy back in again. I understood more, I did more research, I had more experience, and never did. It went to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and I got in around about 5 to 6,000 again, because it just wouldn't drop. Now, it could have dropped again, and I could have panicked, and at some point it did. And I remember I did panic, but eventually it got pretty high, up to 18,000. And then, as we saw, it dropped down to around about 3,000. So you just never know when it's going to go. I think the only thing that I can say is it's held for the long term. You can take profits when it goes up, as you'll be able to see. There are people who probably bought in when it was at the lows, maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe even 10,000, and who sold it some at 40,000 because they want to be able to utilize that cash. However, holding on for the long term, excuse me, is the right play here, especially if you believe in the fundamentals of Bitcoin. And drops like that, as we can see from the whales, are buying opportunities, especially if you've got more cash to be able to do at that stage. So what was the reason as to why it dropped? Now, there are people who are writing articles saying it's to do with the stronger dollar, and they're trying to establish some sort of correlation between that. Now, usually the indication would be that as the dollar gets stronger, there's more confidence in the dollar, people are buying up the dollar and selling the Bitcoin. However, there could be a multitude of different reasons. Here again, we see it in the CoinDesk writing about the dollar bounce, and I've even seen an article talking about the fact that tech stocks fell yesterday, and as a result, the cryptocurrency market fell as well. Now, again, there could be various reasons, and there can be correlations that are made. However, it's always difficult to determine because there are a number of factors out there that are playing a part to determine exactly why. Here we're talking about miners. Miners sell inventory. They're mining. They're getting a good value for it, and they decide to sell. But I think the key thing to take away from here, and here it just goes to show, how much of the crypto market was just over a trillion, and 200 billion was written off in 24 hours. They've added here the regulator warns investors could lose all their money. That's the UK regulator, the FCA. And to tell you the truth, they are always warning that you could potentially lose all your money because it is such a high risk asset to be holding. So, as I was about to say, I think the key takeaway here is that the prices don't go up in a straight line. They never do. And as we can always see, the prices, it goes up, it goes down, and it's the thing that you can do is just to hold on. If we have a look at the